The school auditorium buzzed with restless chatter as students shuffled into their seats. It was Talent Day, a tradition where kids were encouraged to show off their skills. Most came prepared with dance routines, skits, or songs. But for one boy named Marcus, the day was about to turn into something far more personal. Marcus, a quiet black boy with a shy smile, sat alone near the back. Unlike others, he hadn't signed up to perform. He wasn't the loud, confident type. He preferred to keep his talents private, tucked away like a secret no one cared to ask about. The teachers, however, had other plans. Two of them, who often looked down on Marcus, whispered among themselves. They wanted to put him on the spot, to mock him in front of the entire class. One of them sneered, "Why don't you go up there and play something on the violin?" Their voices dripped with sarcasm, and the room erupted in snickers. Marcus froze. He hadn't brought his violin, but the school had an old one in the storage closet. The teachers insisted, forcing him toward the stage, while the students laughed and whispered. To them, it was all a joke, a way to humiliate the boy who never spoke up. As he walked up, his steps were slow, heavy with dread. He could feel hundreds of eyes burning into his back. The whispers grew louder. "He doesn't even know how to play. This is going to be hilarious." The teachers folded their arms, expecting a clumsy disaster. The violin they handed him was dusty, its strings slightly loose, but Marcus knew how to hold it. His fingers brushed over the wood, and for a moment the noise around him faded. What no one in that auditorium knew was that Marcus had been practicing in secret for years. Music was his refuge, his way of surviving in a world that often tried to belittle him. He raised the bow, his hands steady now. The room chuckled again, waiting for him to embarrass himself. Marcus closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and placed the bow against the strings. The first note rang out, soft, clear, and haunting. Instantly, the laughter died. Students who had been leaning forward to watch the joke unfold now sat back, stunned. The teachers who had orchestrated the humiliation exchanged confused looks. They had expected failure. Instead, something entirely different was about to unfold. The bow slid across the strings, releasing a sound so rich and moving that the entire auditorium froze. The melody rose like a voice filled with sorrow and hope, echoing through the hall. Marcus played not just notes, but emotions. Every ounce of loneliness, every quiet hour of practice, every moment he had been underestimated poured into the music. The students who had laughed just minutes before now sat in silence, eyes wide. Some leaned forward, completely mesmerized. The tune carried a weight none of them had expected, a beauty that silenced every whisper. Even the rowdiest kids sat still, their faces softening as the song took hold of them. The teachers who had pushed Marcus onto the stage shifted uncomfortably. They had planned to humiliate him, to make him a punchline. But instead, they were being forced to witness his brilliance. The smirks on their faces faded, replaced by something that looked like shame. Marcus's hands moved with practiced grace, each stroke of the bow deliberate yet passionate. He had found his voice through the violin, and now, for the first time, everyone else was hearing it too. The auditorium that once mocked him now listened in reverent silence. When the final note rang out, it lingered in the air like a secret that couldn't be forgotten. The silence afterward was deafening. Then, slowly, the students erupted into applause. Some even stood, clapping and cheering for the boy they once thought had nothing to offer. Marcus lowered the violin, his face calm but his heart racing. He didn't smile, didn't gloat. He simply walked off the stage with quiet dignity, leaving the teachers and students alike stunned by what they had just witnessed. The lesson was clear, though unspoken. Never underestimate someone simply because they are quiet, different, or underestimated. Marcus had turned their attempt at humiliation into a moment of unforgettable triumph.